See where that orange sign is now, the literally of people before that.
Hey everybody, welcome to protest in Ballymun against plantation of unvetted migrants by the hundreds, by the thousands, by the hundreds of thousands in Ireland, but in Ballymun it's the hundreds. It's very windy, I know, so you're not going to hear me very well. Just let me know in the chat if it's kind of unlistenable. I can mute the mic so you can just watch instead of listen. It's I don't think the crowd is as much as it was last time, but there's a harsh wind out, so it's very bad weather. So it's kind of understandable. In Dublin, so it's kind of good. The Irish media have been fretting about this for like 2 days because it's a non-sanctioned protest. It's not like a climate change or LGBT or whatever, you know, the usual stuff you might see. You know, that kind of stuff is allowed. This kind of protest isn't allowed. This is forbidden protest. That's what this is. So, you know, you don't see thousands and thousands of euro in professional banners and media, slavish media coverage and stuff like that. It's just little old me and a few others just making videos, simple enough. Anyway. I actually don't know the area. Well, I know Ballymun a little bit, but I don't know all the road network. So I asked the gentleman there. He told me we're actually heading, because I didn't know where we were going. He says we're heading towards the M50. So that should be interesting. For those who don't know, the M50 is the big ring road around Dublin that is usually busy around this time. People coming home from work. The traffic's fairly bad on that at the best of times. So this should be interesting to discuss. So, watch and see. Mick O'Keefe, what's the crack, chopper? Says in the chat Phil Porter is in Brookstown/Tala at the moment in a similar protest, and East Wall in Dublin city centre. And you know what? This protest has grown as well. Yeah, it's grown since we got here. So, only back forward now. Live chat there. If you're at home with a couple of tabs open and you're monitoring all the protests, just put it in the chat, because I'm kind of curious as well what's going on, but I can't check through my phone. I'm using it right now for the stream, so you know, talk in the chat about what's going on overall and share this as well.
No one's gonna go on.
Imagine seeing this on your way home, lads, from work. That's how it is. So that is one entrance. Trying to figure out the road. It's kind of complicated, but well, not really. But I mean, this is a roundabout, so traffic comes from that way here. So it's coming onto this roundabout to go into town and into Ballymun. But I'm just wondering if people are going to go down to the actual M50, which is the main road down here, and block that. That'd be something else. But I don't know. I'm just covering it, so I don't know what the plans are, or yeah, I'm just here covering it, you know. We've got our journalists here with their big DSLR cameras, and by journalists I mean corporate, well, I'm assuming corporate or mainstream kind of journalists. Just checking the old chat over there. So, this is the main man here. this is the one. The M50, the vaulted M50. So that, and the ports. The ports at Rosslare and the ports at Dublin and Cork. Those are the aortas. I suppose you only have one aorta. Those are the main arteries of the country. Very important. The main physical arteries anyway. I'm not talking about online or digital stuff. Interesting. So second one block. Scrap. There's a Garda. Just gonna watch it on. What's the crack? Huh? No. There's one in uniform behind you, but don't worry.
No, these fellas won't do anything.
Yeah.
Without people not coming in.
I know.
ID, yeah.
I know, yeah.
Charged me twice.
Yeah. I know.
Charged me differently each time. Imagine that.
Sorry about the wind, guys. I'm just gonna go back up here and check it out. We're gonna need police here, I'd say, soon enough, or else it could get dangerous for the people here. I'd say you don't want drivers doing anything stupid. The police should be here, really. Usually, when there's protest, the guards will kind of intervene and take the block. Yeah.
They want someone to get run over.
They do, I think. Yeah. If this were Greta Thunberg and her friends now, yeah. They,
It's like Drogheda on Saturday. They were letting those come back on TV.
Yeah.
Not a garbage.
Yeah. But like, they should be doing something here, because if this blocks all the way back, then what is they could end up backing up on each other, and that is actually, not the best. And that's not the fault of the people here. It's the guards should be managing it.
They want it to be chaos.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Angry. This is, I'll tell you now, this is kind of surreal, being on this road. As you can see right now, I'm kind of by myself. I'm splitting off from this crowd with this other, I think, mainstream media guy probably. But yeah, it's a strange thing being on this road. Sort of, okay, this one is moving. Interesting. Have they given up? I think the guards should be managing this better, to be honest. I mean, usually when there are road blockades, and this is common, this is not unheard of. What's this guy doing? Let's get that. Yeah. Yeah, usually when you see this kind of thing, it's a norm that the guards will manage it. It's not a case of that if you block a road, it's your problem. It's not the guards' problem. No. It's one of the outlets of protest that's used for all left, right, all sorts of things. And in my experience, I've always seen the guards manage it so that regardless of the interruptions, or the delays that happen or occur, no one ends up in any actual danger. And the way I saw the M50 packing up back there, the guards should be managing that. They know they're well aware of this. They said it themselves. I just think if anything were to go awry, I think it would be their fault, clearly. The way they're just standing around. Why aren't there patrol cars redirecting things or beacons for traffic to warn them? I don't know. Anyway. Palace guards. I mean, I don't really get anything out of it, to be honest, but if you do want to share it, given that I'm here, people might as well see it, I suppose. So, no harm giving it a share, if you haven't already. There we go. See, the problem is numbers. People need more numbers here, if they want to be effective, I think. And it's hard for ordinary people who aren't NGOs or paid NGOs or any of that, who don't get wages and professional RT branding and all that. Thanks. You too. Yeah, it's hard for ordinary people have jobs and lives and children. We don't all have the luxury of paid activists, state paid activists. So, to be honest, it's a feat or a marvel that there are even this many people completely self-starting, organic. But at the same time, they still need more, They still need more. You need more muscle, so to speak, figuratively, to more physical presence, let's say, in order to block these roads confidently. Because that's a lot of pressure, all these cars, all these people stewing, angry. It's a lot of pressure for a couple of dozen people on any given exit to take. There was, 50 people each side who did more power in numbers, so it's good interesting. Lads. Can I see your sign there, guys? Thank you very much. Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah. You didn't get paid by the state to make that sign, no? You didn't get paid by the state to make that sign.
This with the water works.
Yeah, very much, yeah. I'm not joking. You know what I mean?
Everyone says now, more police for these people. More police for these more bodies put in the community. The house are up. Just enough to
Yeah, peaceful civil disobedience. Yeah. Summer's coming, yeah. See you then. Uh-oh, anger. Oh. I think these people need to contact their local TDs. Contact the government. They need to ask the government why the Irish people have never been asked about what's the crack? About mass migration. Why have the Irish people never gotten a say on that? I don't understand why the government can't just stop bringing in tens and hundreds of thousands of fake asylum seekers and migrants and cheap labour and all of that every year. Why don't they just put it to a referendum? Ask people. Why don't they just listen to people's concerns? So the more you see these kind of civil disobedience actions happen, I suppose, as an outside observer, I would have to say, people like these drivers need to think. And of course, the thing is, of course, many, I'd say, if not most of the drivers here, who are just trying to get home, to their families and home from a hard day at work. I can appreciate how angry they probably would be. I would be the same. Maybe not angry, but frustrated. The thing is, maybe 90% of these people agree with the protesters. It's an unfortunate inconvenience, but at the same time, the blame and the responsibility lies with this malicious rogue regime. Not the people who are here. The people who are here are not being given a democratic voice. They're not being given any opportunity to have their concerns met or heard, and they're only being condemned as all sorts of derogatory terms. Look at that, the M50 heading, God, I don't know which direction, I don't know, coming this way is blocked. I don't know if you can see that, guys, on the right, that's blocked. Yeah. I'm kind of wondering if other thoroughfares are being blocked in the likes of East Wall, Upper and Tala. Whoa, okay, thanks, Chopper, yeah? Port Tunnel is blocked, and Phil is also blocking roads in Tala. Well, isn't that interesting? Here's the thing, this is only going to go and get more and more coordinated. If you want my 2 cents, I think with the growing frustration, the growing movement, no matter how many subversion activists they put into communities to mislead them, no matter how many friends of asylum seekers or whatever these fake government groups and journalists constantly monitoring, and algorithms from Moonshot CVE from London monitoring the situation, trying to sort of get the, no matter how much matrix they put on us here or on people protesting, I do believe that at a certain point the protest becomes so broad and so common, and there's so many people doing it, that so that's a counter protest there. I think the guards really should be managing this better. Peaceful civil disobedience is a legitimate form of protest, and so it's up to the guards to prevent there being any accidents out here. That's their job. I don't know if they're doing it. They should be. But yeah, I just don't think the regime has the bandwidth, because no matter what kind of technology or sophisticated stuff they use, or no matter how much money they have, at the end of the day, their operations, their subversion and their control and their fearmongering, all of that requires people at the end of the day, and people are a form of bandwidth. For every protester you need, or let's say for every 50 organic protesters against plantation, you need one full-time guy to monitor all their activities and all their concerns. At a certain point, the kind of regime, I think anyway, I don't know what this guy is up to, the regime kind of runs out of bandwidth, in a sense of, yeah, interesting. Okay, yeah, that, how can you have, traditionally if there's a protest in one town, let's just say, the government, I've plenty of experience of this, the regime would apply all of their efforts and all of their manpower, their brain power, their bandwidth, as I'm calling it, to that one town. And of course the one town would just be caught out on its own, completely stunned in the headlines by this behemoth that has just descended upon it, a behemoth that they can't even begin to understand. Yeah, fair enough. But I feel like once it's big enough and it's everywhere, it's not just one town, it's 20 towns at once, and then another one, and fires, hypothetical, figurative sort of ones, right, figure of speech, start getting kind of said all over the place. that it's their job to figuratively put out. They just don't have the bandwidth. They don't have the manpower. How are they going to do that? So, you know, unless they have some sort of magic trick up their sleeve, these people are very angry. Oh, we've got helicopters too. Okay. So, yeah, unless they've got, if we're going to have helicopters, you might as well share this, guys. Come on, you know. But so yeah, I think there has to be a bandwidth issue. And what I just keep wondering is, why don't the state just stop? You know what I mean? Like, do you really have to bring in 200,000 odd people? Fair play to these. There's a few women here blocking this whole thing all by themselves. We got someone coming through here. Yeah, but yeah, they're a bit light on this side. I'm not blocking roads here. I'm just taking video. I don't know. But yeah. Why don't the state just stop? And like these guards, like, why don't they just, like, you know, it's the usual thing of, like, a couple of years ago, I was trying to, like, go a few miles up the road to go for a walk in the park, and they were stopping my car, asking me where I was going. Like, they were enforcing that law, that obviously bullshit law. So, like, but now they're not enforcing this. Like, clearly most of this is illegal. There are not laws to permit what's currently happening at the moment. There we have Justin Barrett. Justin, any interest in a few words, or?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you know, what do you make of it all? This protest. We know what you think of migration and the regime and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What do you think of this right now?
This is just great.
Yes.
This is how I was talking to one of the mainstream, you know, as they journalists there on, and she said, why don't you just talk to your local DDs?
Yeah.
I don't pay any attention. They're paying attention tonight.
Yeah.
They'll be discussing this at Cameron tomorrow. They'll be discussing it with the Dawn tomorrow. And this is great. This is great to see the people of the community come out and defend themselves.
Yeah. And you know what the sad thing is that the people who want to go home and all of that, there's a good chance 80-90, a majority of these people sitting in the cars agree with the protest.
Oh yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's a pity in one sense, but you know, it's the only option.
No, something has to be done.
Yeah.
To give, because while everything stays quiet and everything stays smooth, they're just not going to stop.
Yeah.
So it just these, you know, communities have to stand up for themselves. And I do think 90% of people will support the protest. It's not pleasant being locked in traffic. We've all been locked in traffic before, but nothing else than this is going to actually wake them up and get the politicians in Leinster House to at least pay attention.
Yeah, and you know, they need to understand their frustration is with the state.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, look, I'll leave you at it.
Okay.
See you, Justin. Take it easy. Yeah. Neutral. Just one man band, like
fair enough.
What channel is it on? Garrod Murphy on YouTube. Yeah, you might find it later, but it's just me walking around here, so you'll see the same thing. Yeah, no bother. Get a little sign here. Yay. Thanks, man. Okay. It's just very unfortunate for the people stopped in this traffic, to be honest. But I mean, what are you to do? Okay, so that's it. Seems to be compacted as well. We have trucks, we have cargo. Like, at the end of the day, some of these trucks, right, they're trying to make it to Dublin port. They have their windows of delivery windows, and I know sometimes they get the heads up from their own management, but at the end of the day, if they're blocked for a while, they have to make their port deadlines. You know, I think in a totalitarian system where there is no democratic input from people, especially in something as serious as plantation replacement, population replacement. I mean, this is one of the big obvious options that people have. A bit of democracy, a bit of an honest conversation in the media would make more sense. Like all these technocrats, not to kiss my own arse here, but all of these technocrats, look at these ordinary families having to do this on a windy, cold night. But all of these technocrats who are pro-migration and this and that, the far right, this and the far right, that, listen, join me on YouTube for a live stream. We'll have a respectable conversation about it. You know, no, we're not singing mud here. We're just talking about is mass immigration overall good for the Irish people or bad for the Irish people? Is it what this country wants? Is it not? Let's have that conversation, and I'm willing to give you 50% more time to speak. I'll give you the floor. I'll get half of your time to speak. But that's what people need, is a fair conversation, and that's being denied to them, along with any kind of political representation or a referendum. So again, you're back to this kind of stuff, and you know, everybody knows it's the business, it's the money power that really matters in this kind of world. In a sense, they're the ones with the power, and when you mess with things like these thoroughfares sufficiently, maybe not just tonight, but if it grows, at a certain point the right people have to contact politicians and say this needs to end, and they have a choice then between, I don't know, killing, arresting, jailing protesters en masse, or perhaps listening to them and easing off on this immigration nonsense. The thing is as well is that these protesters, they're not really asking for much. They're not saying we want 30,000 euro checks each. We want large houses completely for free, and we want Mercedes. You know, everybody gets a Mercedes, and we have some sort of ridiculous demand that can't be met, or something, right? We want some sort of a communist utopia where everybody sits around painting and drinking coffee all day long, right? No, the government can never meet that, so fair enough. In this case, there's not much being asked. It's not hard to not bring hundreds of thousands of people in against the will of people. That's not really hard to do, is it? On. See a few signs. I bet you the other night. That's the crack. To an empty building near you. Now let's check out the traffic. This is the traffic report. Sorry. Yeah, this is the drive time traffic report here, brought to you by Murphy. We're just on the M50 here, or just over the M50. We're getting long tailbacks and backups. You know what, the M50 is still moving though, interestingly. I suppose what they did was they just walled off this side. These guys are now trapped, and this is just... So, I'm guessing the next step would be to, I'm just guessing as an observer, would be for people at further protests, I don't know, to just directly block the M50. That's just speculation on my behalf. But, yeah, you know, one of the things for, I'll just kind of running commentary here, right, as I'm walking around, it's better than silence. One of the things, in my opinion, that would protest is bad. Yeah, one of the, I don't know, there's a conflict there in one sense between, you want to centralize the whole country, all the towns, all the different protests, local protest movements, centralized under one big banner, tens of thousands of people hitting up Dublin for a protest and all that. Wouldn't that be great? in one sense, that's a massive strength. In another sense, and obviously I'm not pointing the finger at anyone in specific, but if one kind of guru decided to take the leadership of the whole thing, if he were the real deal, then that would be fantastic. Him and a committee of a few others, him or her, would be fantastic. But if they were to be compromised, of course, that would be a massive weakness. So there's a question, I don't know, there's a question about which one is best, or maybe some kind of hybrid. I don't know what the best kind of game theory or strategy is there to make the protest movement as it grows kind of anti-fragile, kind of basically unbeatable, or resilient. It's kind of spookily quiet out here on this end. I don't know which way to go, guys. There's a lot of beeping. I mean, I can imagine the frustration, Someone says farmers and truckers would be a great help. That is true. And honestly, if you're a farmer and you're annoyed about turf or prices or too many regulations to do with like bullshit kind of climate change stuff or whatever, you know what? I don't believe in I think this should be an anti-plantation, anti-population replacement protest. No doubt about it. But I think it should remain that. It shouldn't be diluted into a general frustration protest. But at the same time, so the farmers could take one for the team here and say, okay, we're not going to make it all about our thing, but you know what? The same regime that is getting us on our farming stuff and selling off our industry, our ability to produce food to these third world or second world countries like Brazil, exporting our own food production basically at the expense of our farmers. If you're pissed off about that, it doesn't need to be all about that. You come and support this. This is the crux of it. This is the heart of it. Clearly, everybody knows that. It's the plantation population replacement thing is the ongoing permanent issue. More, I think, than COVID or the digital lockdown or passports, more than climate change stuff, more than gender ideology. The real belly of the beast is this population replacement stuff. And you could integrate your protest movement into this, sublimate it to this, I think. Because you don't want it to become a big mess of a mixed bag. But bring your tractors. That's all I'm saying. Bring your tractors, bring your trucks. Hide your kids, hide your wife. That's just my opinion, on some of this stuff. I know it's windy and it's painful to listen to this probably, but I can't control the wind and I don't have a fluffy wind mic. I wouldn't know how to, use it anyway. I'm a tech boomer. Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what? I used to grow up here. I grew up in Cork, but so I never really knew much about Dublin. Only kind of the places you hear about on telly, Tala, this, that, and the other. But I grew up hearing about Ballymun. That if there was one place in Ireland, because everyone wants to know what's the toughest neighbourhood in America, toughest neighbourhood in London, or something like that. In Dublin, the toughest neighbourhood in Dublin was Ballymun, allegedly, when I was growing up. And therefore really the toughest neighbourhood in Ireland. And it's in a way it's a kind of privilege to walk around here and cover the protests. I never would have known back then, I never would have known that whatever it is, 20 something years later, I'd be walking around a roundabout with helicopters flying overhead, covering, in the face of regime opprobrium, covering a mass movement, a mass people's movement, a true mass people's movement, like not a fake one, not a flower power fake sort of brand of protest, but an actual genuine unsanctioned people's movement. Yeah.
the Renault.
You're really in charge, then.
And the Renault is trying to knock people down, trying to get out of there.
Which this guy?
Yeah.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
He should talk to the guards. He should talk to the Taoiseach actually. No, you're not. It's pointed that way. But yeah. So no other trouble. Why? Am I hostile or I'm on your side? If that makes any difference. I don't want all these people coming into the country.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah. Oh, here, no. Don't get me wrong. I'm the other way, like, that way. If you're wondering what you're saying. Oh, the government are bringing without anybody saying, and not saying this, all that. Like, that's my, like, I've been saying that for the last, like, 6 years when no one else was. Like, long before. Huh?
Our own friends was falling out all over opinion and all. And
Oh, were you?
now our sister-in-law.
Yeah. Wait, all these years, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, yeah. I'm waiting for the word to catch up to me so I can like go back to people and say, listen, can you
I'm
fucking...
still waiting for an apology.
Yeah. You know all the journalists and all this, the free world with all the journalism, they're going to hold politicians to account. The reality of my view, because I've been doing this for a long time as well, right? If the media was so good, if you're going to be glad at people's opinions, people should be open. Whereas what happens?
Because you're just going to make us out to be racist.
Yeah, but you don't know whether I'm one of him or not, right? So what happens is when I come up to people, I see this fear, and I'm going, why is everybody afraid? Like,
propaganda.
no, but if you walk into someone's house, your buddy's house, and his wife seems really scared and nervous, you think he must be really nervous, right? Like there's something weird. And I find when I go up to people, I say, hey, what's the crack? They're all like worried, like straight out.
Like everyone here, you lie.
Yeah. That's what the media's done. I think it's something you look in the papers and think, oh, they're good. Well, no, but you know, probably other things and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, someone says I need a fluffy mic. Here's the thing, right? I'm a tech boomer, and even if someone got me a fluffy mic, there's a whole... I can't just hold a fluffy mic. It needs there's some sort of connection to your phone. It's kind of tricky because like you only have one port. I don't know. I'm sure there's a way of doing it that's straightforward. You don't know it. It isn't straightforward. Listen, if somebody wants to buy me a fluffy windbreaker for a phone, plus the required leads for that, and come help me physically put it together and show me how to, like, you know, get it going, then I'll use it. But you know what, I have a life to live as well, and I'm an absolute tech idiot, so bear with me, you know. But if I knew how to use one, maybe I should just sort it out. But you know what I mean, I have my own expenses as well and stuff, but I understand. I you know, I get it. Like, you're listening to a stream, you don't want to listen to loads of wind. But actually, I'm not even asking for someone to necessarily get it. Thanks, mate. But what's that? This looks like a fluffy mic head. Weird. That's kind of strange, isn't it? Just as I was talking about it. Anyway, yeah, it's not so much that I'm saying somebody buy me a windbreaker necessarily. But if you're out there and you're familiar with audio equipment and all that, and you know how it works, and basically my thing as well is the easiest possible method works best, the most straightforward thing, efficient. Yeah, if you want to send me a DM and say, hey, here's the best one you can get for the best price, works really well, works really easy, 1, 2, 3, send me that DM and I'll look into you getting it, and the next stream won't be windy. Anyway, I'll stop talking about that. Someone says a bit of fluff and an elastic band over the mic. Cool. Okay, I didn't know it was that easy. Okay, so literally just cover the phone, because it is just a phone I'm using, obviously. Okay, so just cover the phone in a piece of fluff. I don't know. I'll look into it. For now, it's windy. Oh, it's moving. Okay. It's moving there. It's backed up there. Yeah. Someone says put my phone into a sock. Okay. I don't know how that would work for controlling the actual stream, looking at comments, making sure the thing doesn't close, or whatever. I'm not going to talk about this thing anymore. It's windy, sorry about that. We'll look into it for next time. These cars, it was this Syncreon truck as well, just a while ago. I wonder if I could ask him how he's feeling. I could give him a thumbs up. He's an older kind of guy. Looks pretty sound actually, to be honest. What's the story? Yeah. So there you go. So I see Philip Dwyer. Philip Dwyer is live somewhere in Tala. This guy's trying to go somewhere interesting. Okay. Oh, it seems to be a bit of movement. Yeah. Philip Dwyer's live, Derek Bly's live. Fair play to the lads. Well done. It is a windy, I know you can hear the wind, but let me just tell you, it's cold as well. It's cold wind. Oh, jeez. I hadn't actually thought about those ones. Most of the people in the traffic I sympathise with, because they probably agree with the protesters here, you know. But there's that 10% who think everybody here is evil and terrible and low class and, you know, scum who shouldn't have a voice. You're not in an NGO like me. Shut up. Those kind of people. Some of those people are in the traffic too, which is a comforting thought in that sense, you know. You could say. I don't know at what point I should be getting off the road here, because obviously it's going to open up again, you know, slowly but surely. Because like we've got this Lone Ranger here, for example. Oh. So that one got away from the gridlock. God bless them. Yeah, it looks to be opening up. I think that's it. Okay, so people are making their way back around. I'm going to join those. Oh. Gosh. You know, Uachtarard in County Galway had it right years ago when they did civil disobedience to stop this happening in their town. They did 24-hour watch, so obviously they're working their arses off to do it. But they also, it was an all hands on deck effort. They had people, they had food stands and everything, heaters, the whole lot. So like, you know, basically what I'm trying to say is some soup would be great. That's all I'm trying to say. Long story short, it's one of those nights. Okay, so I think that's that protest wise. You know, it's obviously people are heading back now. Maybe I could go off now and just kind of leave it. I think that's probably. I'm going to assume that's the honestly. It's kind of too windy to have conversations with people. And, you know, I think you all know how people feel anyway. Actually, maybe I'll ramble for a second. One of the funny things I've noticed that these days is that as myself, as like a content creator per se, person or whatever, or a former one. I think the landscape has changed, you know. Where I think the two things people are probably interested in these days are very long content, like a bunch of lads talking about this situation, a bunch of me and some other nationalists or whoever, right, talking about this at length, conversationally, like the Joe Rogan type of setting, right? A bunch of lads talking at length. People want to hear that, and then people want to hear very short things, like 30-second TikTok style, like a single thought, deliver it efficiently, charismatically, and for people to absorb it. This whole thing of where you do a half-an-hour video examining the migration process. Look at how many people are coming in. Look at the numbers. La la la. I almost feel like that form of content, which was very big a few years ago, and I did a bit of it myself. I think it's kind of dead. It's almost kind of redundant now, in my opinion, because even the so-called normie, the average person who's not really into political stuff too much, I just feel like everybody knows. What I'm trying to say is there's an element of like, there's nothing to say anymore. There's just protest movements. We need to monitor and support these. There needs to be quick bite-sized stuff for getting messages out there and countering arguments and stuff like that. And then, you know, the long-form podcast for people in the gym or whatever to listen to on their way home. It's kind of like basically a replacement for media. Instead of listening to the radio, kind of long-form, relaxing, just, you know, the kind of friend simulator type thing. You know, I don't know why I say that. Oh yeah, point being, you know, I could interview people here a bit, and regardless of the wind, you know, even if it wasn't windy, it's kind of like we know. I feel like I know what they're going to say. They're going to say what I say and what you say, and what everybody who at this point. Anybody who isn't a paid member of the regime, like paid in via either profiting massively from it as a rent seeker, kind of capitalist, or as an NGO person or some sort of apparatchik, if you're not one of them, which is the majority of people, then you already get it. You know. You don't need me to tell you statistics about, oh, did you know we're being replaced, and did you know they're doing it intentionally, and you know, it's all rigged in the media and all of that. Everybody just knows, you know. It's just a question now of people taking action and organising and liaising with each other, sort of networking with each other, growing, getting smarter, and all of that. To me, that's all they've left to say or do, you know. So anyway, you know, I try to be objective and all this, and then I end up going on my own rambles. So yeah, listen, I think that was it. The M50 was fairly well blocked on this end of Ballymun. There were a lot of frustrated people coming to work, naturally, but of course, you know, as the people of Ballymun here would tell you, their problem lies with a, you know, totalitarian, unresponsive state that refuses to do something they could very easily do, which is to stop bringing in tens and hundreds of thousands of people. Maybe put it up to a referendum, a proper referendum, or maybe just stop doing it altogether. Anyway, look, you know, that's kind of my opinion. I suppose I'll leave it there, guys. Of course, this movement seems to be growing. It might wax and wane. It might seem like it's petering out for a few weeks, maybe, you know, and then it'll come back. But on the longer trajectory, it's growing. I got it. No, but you know, one of the pieces of advice. Some of this from here yourself. Always be careful with people who you know who are from there. They don't work for the government in some way. That kind of stuff. No, but it really does happen. I know it's like paranoid, but it really does happen. Like, once it's just people that everybody's always known. They're plenty of them. Yeah.
What happened?
Again, are we walking or?
Hey, peaceful protest. Let's go!
Where's the mic?
Yes, let's go!
Let's go to McDonald's.
Alright everybody, it's kind of winding down here in Ballymun, so I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to stick around for a while if anything else interesting happens. If anything else interesting happens, I'll take video and post it online. Okay, so God bless everybody. See you.